live button. Okay, so we are live. So we'll just leave it for a few seconds for everything to join up. Fantastic, and I believe we are in fact live again, streaming for the Friends of Derby Arboretum online show in 2020. So everything is online, and welcome back if you joined us yesterday, and welcome if you're new to us. So if you're new to us, what's this all about? So we have Lark in the Park every year, which is the anniversary of the Derby Arboretum. Derby Arboretum being a park full of exotic and international trees in the centre of Derby, and we have a festival every year where people come along and do lots of entertainment and join in, and there's stalls and so on. And of course, this year we're in, we have COVID, and so we made the brave decision, it turns out, to put it all online. And so Lark in the Park every year is usually a one-day event. The online YouTube festival that we're running this year is for 9 days. So it started yesterday, so we're at day 2 just now, and we're running right through to next Sunday. So there's a live show every day for you. So after the live show, which we run from 10 to 11 every day, we are premiering lots of films as well, and these are community made films, and the people who would normally come and perform on the park or get involved with storytelling, music, history, information about the park, tree trails and so on, we've asked them all to create videos. Some of them have done it for the very first time. In fact, most of us have done it for the very first time, and they've sent them through to us, and we've uploaded them, and we're premiering at least a couple every single day, and quite a few on Sundays. During the live shows, we have several guests each time, and I always will have 1 or 2 co-hosts from the Friends of Derby Arboretum and the parks from Derby. And then we have several guests that will join us over the week as well. So guests that we already have sort of confirmed in terms of days and times and what they're doing are quite fantastic. So we're getting some behind the scenes access that you wouldn't normally get if you were running things like this actually within the park. So we've got we're going to beam live from the Royal Crown Derby archive rooms, and we're going to learn about their Arboretum design and how that was inspired, obviously inspired by the park, but the process of that as well. We will also beam live from the archive room and studios from WW Winter, which is the oldest surviving photographic studio and retail outlet in the country, which is really quite remarkable. Lots of firsts here in Derby, loads of things to be proud of here in Derby, and we've got quite a few more guests like that during the week as well. So I won't announce them all now because there's too many of them, but we'll introduce them as we go throughout the week. Now, before there's a couple more things I want to say, but I just want to introduce you to who's in the room first of all, so you know who you're looking at on the screen. So you've met Jo from yesterday, so she's the chair of Friends of Derby Arboretum. So Jo gives us a wave. And we also have with us today Mick McNaught, who is, and I'll get this right because I always get it wrong, you are the Community Parks Officer, and you've got a special interest in the Derby Arboretum, isn't that right?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, I've got it correct this time, so that's fantastic. So that's who we have in the room. And Jenny, who you met yesterday as well, for those of you who tuned in yesterday. Jenny Jenny Anthony is from the creative director of Spiral Arts, and she will be joining us at 10:30, and that she'll be talking to us about the film that she's premiering today after the show, which is How to Make a Decorative hot air balloon that you can hang in your home. So we'll all be watching that with keen interest. I may, if I can find a balloon, I might even have a go at that myself. So we'll hear from Mick and Jo shortly, but just a couple more things that I wanted to say. First of all, it's like a huge thanks to all the people who have got involved since yesterday, literally since the live show that we ran yesterday. So the live show that we ran yesterday is now on YouTube. There's been lots of people that have watched that, so thank you very much. We're absolutely thrilled that people have got so involved. And also the videos, and Ben's video yesterday, which was on the history of the Arboretum and the future of the Arboretum, was fantastic, and we got loads of comments on that, and loads of views, over 130 views since yesterday, and over 20 likes. So we're thrilled to bits. And the magician that we had, Clive, who was on there, that's been watched. His jokes were fantastic. He kind of hit you when you least expect it. So yeah, the second opinion from the doctor, I was in fits when he said that. So comedy gold there, and they will remain up there. So you can watch those at your leisure. And Jo, were you aware that Ben's yesterday, it was his golden wedding anniversary?
Oh, no.
Yeah, he told me after, and I said,
yeah.
I said, do you mind me mentioning it? And he said, no, not at all. But he said he could get away with just coming in the morning. So we're enormously privileged that he did that, and enormously thankful to his wife for letting him come and present for us for yesterday morning. And yeah, many congratulations to them both. And it was a wonderful film, and many likes and views and so on. So absolutely fantastic. Also, I just want to do a shout out to some of the people who've actually been commenting and leaving messages for us on the various social media channels and on YouTube. And in particular, I want to do a shout out for Cedars Park, or Cedar Park. And they are a park that is about 20 kilometres north of London. And they're celebrating their centenary next year. Now, they've been watching us, they say, with interest, because they've started a YouTube channel and they've been creating some videos. And they appear to be, like the Derby Arboretum, got a huge community involvement and interest, and you can see that they love their park, and they've been giving us loads and loads of support. So I just wanted to give them a shout out and hello and thank you very much. And they do have a YouTube channel, just as we've got a YouTube channel that's growing. Please do check them out, Cedar Park. So I think you can just put Cedar Park into YouTube, and theirs will come up, and give them a subscribe as well. And finally, we put a quiz up yesterday on YouTube, and that was when was the Derby Arboretum donated to the people of Derby? And we put 3 dates up there: 1740, 1840 and 1940. And if I can share the screen, actually, that will give me a chance for us to, or for me to practice that side of things. So that's on Twitter. So most of you out there got that right. So we had 24 votes. Well done. So 1840, in fact, it was donated to the people of Derby. And we have another quiz up there today. But before we do, I thought I decided to have a look up, and you might be interested in this, Jo and Mick. I thought I'd have a look up to see what else happened in 1840. So did you know that we discovered, or Charles Wilkes discovered or identified Antarctica as a continent in 1840? My personal favourite, because I've always enjoyed this fact from school, the penny black came out on the 6th of May in 1840. So the first adhesive stamp came out then. And then also equally fascinating, though, was on the June the 20th, Samuel Morse patented the telegraph. And of course, that changed the world forever as well. And look at us now here on Zoom, 180 years later after Samuel Morse had painted the telegraph. And also really interesting, this is something I didn't know, so I should have paid more attention in history at school, but Napoleon Bonaparte had his state funeral in December in France, 19 years after his death. So he had his state funeral in Paris then. So all of that happened in 1840, and also in September, the Derby Arboretum was donated to the people of Derby, an equally important event, I would argue, as the Penny Black and others. Okay, so that's, I guess, is enough wittering on from me, and so I'd like to, because Mick, you're now sort of new to the show, and you're going to pop up a few times in the live streams in the coming weeks, because you're always in the park, and all the photos we bring up, that you're in the background somewhere, but you're the community parks officer. So what do you do as a community parks officer?
Well, my role now really just is looking after with my colleague Neil Grant here. We manage the ranger team across the whole city, but my role's changed over the years. I suppose a bit of history of my time with Derby City Parks Department might be appropriate. I started for the Parks Department in June, I think it was the 6th of July, 6th or 7th of July, 1987. So some years ago, so I've been working for Derby Parks for a considerable length of time. And then, I don't know, 14-ish years ago, there was an opportunity to take on a role which was relief head ranger, because then the old structure was there was a ranger superintendent and a head ranger. So I applied for that role, and it was that preparation for the old heads of service approaching retirement. And then shortly after that, I was invited to come and work directly at the Arboretum. So I suppose about 12 years ago now. At the time, there'd been a big change round in staff, and they'd taken on 3 new members of full-time staff on here. And at that point in time, there was 3 full-time rangers, 2 gardeners, and a manager, permanent full-time. So I was asked to come in and train up the new staff at that point. So I started doing that, and through doing that, eventually took on the role of the Arboretum Park Manager, I suppose about 12 years ago. But from that point to now, things have changed a bit, and I've got responsibilities with my opposite number, Neil Grant, here, across the whole city. Well,
I mean, I wonder, is being a ranger or a parks officer the best job in the world, because you get to walk around these beautiful landscapes all day? Or is there a lot of kind of administration and bureaucracy that you have to do as well?
Well, when I was just a park ranger, it was literally just walking around the parks and looking after the parks all day long, which is probably why I stuck with the job for as long as I did. Is
it like being in the police force when you're on the beat, but then they promote you into, like, detective inspector, whatever, and they want to be out on the street again still?
Yeah, I must confess that I spend a lot of my time now in front of a computer. I'm still very blessed. I do get, because my job involves parks and open spaces, there are issues out there in the 3-dimensional world which I have to go and attend to. So I do get a lot of time out of the office, visiting our sites and visiting the Arboretum.
So now I know why you're so responsive, because when we request things, because you come out straight away. You want to come out onto the park, and I don't blame you. Especially when it's sunny, and it's been beautiful weather, hasn't it? And it's just been resplendent, the Arboretum, recently.
Yeah, the weather's been absolutely blistering, hasn't it, this summer? I was only commenting to my wife this morning on the lack of rain, which for the Arboretum is not necessary. For trees and plants, we love it. We love not to have rain, but the trees have shown a sign of stress over this season because there's been so little rain. Yeah, it's been a lovely summer.
And I've noticed as well that they've been shedding their leaves early as well. Do you think kind of the season's been triggered early?
No, I mean, it's straight. I mean, one of the signs of stress in a tree if there's not enough groundwater, is it will start to shed its leaves. Because part of the tree's living process is transpiration, where in the spring it puts out its leaves, and the action is the sunlight on the leaves that draws the water up through the root system, through the trunks and out through to the leaves. Obviously, if there's not enough water in the ground, what will happen is to protect itself, the tree will start shedding its leaves, and start preserving the core of the tree. So we do get in dry, we've had a few dry summers actually over the last few years. They will shed early as a part of that protective measure. But also, I mean, strangely enough, if you read Loudon's account in the catalogue for the Arboretum, and he talks about the seasons, and he distinctly mentions, autumnal drop on trees, starting, all from August, from some specimens. So you've got a mixture of the two things going on.
Yeah, because I think it was the wingnut I noticed, which was in early August, that started shedding its leaves. So perhaps that's one of the varieties that has the tendency to do that.
Yeah.
That's
I was going to say, yeah. That is one of the trees that does go early.
Gosh, you learn something every day. It's because interesting, because I was like following on Twitter and as you do, and people had been noticing this on other trees, but and they were putting it down to season. But I've learnt now it's because of the trees itself, and if you've got quite a hot summer, and then in obviously COVID has affected everyone in unique and interesting ways, but the common denominator of COVID, it has affected everyone globally, and it has affected parks in good ways and probably challenging ways as well. So how has COVID impacted your work and the park itself?
We've been very busy. Parks, our department, our staff, there was no furloughing. We were permanently open and always considered to be, as you'd imagine, people needing outdoor spaces to go to during lockdown. We were always open and always very busy. And mostly that's been a great blessing, I hope, a great blessing to the people of Derby. But not just here, as you mentioned, I mean, across the whole country, parks have been much busier because those people who would have gone away for holidays abroad haven't been able to do that. They haven't necessarily been able to go away in the UK quite so easily, certainly in the earlier time in lockdown and as lockdown was easing. So we have had a lot more, visitors on parks, unprecedented numbers, which has been absolutely fantastic. I mean, we hope at the end of all of this, people will suddenly realise how, if they didn't already know how important public parks were, that they will now really realise how important they are to society. I mean, Strutt, Loudon, the benefactor, Loudon, the designer, knew how important open spaces were 180 years ago. That's why we've got this wonderful Arboretum. So hopefully it'll forge in the minds of the people of Great Britain, not just Derby, how important our parks are.
Well, hopefully so, because I think, as you say, there's been a huge influx of people to the park, and the way the park is designed is there's a lot of interest, and there's the mounds, as you say, they've been designed in there. So there's places for people to tuck themselves in and have a bit of privacy, and that's very much the design of this particular park. So when it's had an influx of people, it's not actually felt overcrowded. People have had their own space and so on. But the other thing I noticed was the huge diversity of different people there. There was cyclists, families, and so on. And there was a bit of a buzz as well to it. So I hope people do remember that buzz.
There were lots of mornings when groups of people were walking around, as they would normally do, but I think they were doing more circuits than usual. So there's a group of ladies who walk around at least twice, and a group of guys who walk around at least 3 times. And if you do the windy paths around the outside of the park, it's actually quite a lovely walk, with various little variations of different paths that you can take on each repetition.
It sounds terribly Victorian, doesn't it? There's a group of ladies walking around the park twice a day, taking the fresh air. It sounds wonderful, and it is wonderful. That's the thing. And the other thing I noticed about COVID as well, because there were so many people, you could because I sort of go around the park quite a lot, and the bins filling up quite quickly. But all credit to your department, Mick, how it gets cleaned every single day, and that park looks spotless.
Yeah, I mean, we are still fortunate at the Arboretum. It's one of our sites where we do have a full-time member of staff here, usually 7 days a week. Yes, across our parks, and I dare say across the country, I mean, littering has been a huge issue, and it has brought a lot of pressure on parks teams to deal with this added waste as people are arriving in exponential numbers. And by and large, people have been fantastic, but obviously there's always those few who just seem unable to take their rubbish home with them. And it always just concerns me that when a bin's full, rather than going to another bin, they just dump it by the side of it, which causes problems. And the reality is, if you've come to a park and you brought your picnic and you've eaten your food, it'd just be great if people would just take it home with them, because that would just ease the burden. The message. Pressure.
Take your rubbish home and ease the burden on other people using the park. But also, on a positive note, there are those who do you see them actually picking up rubbish just of their own accord. And that's just a beautiful thing just to see, isn't it? It just certainly restores your faith in humans.
There's been a lot of people absolutely digging in and helping out from the public. Yeah, it has been incredibly impressive. But can I just read you a small bit from Strut? And I come across this, I thought, maybe this ought to be put as a sign around every park to help inform people's minds and maybe think about this subject of those who are less likely to take good care of their parks.
Absolutely. So this is Joseph Strutt, who donated the park to the people of Derby, and he wrote about the park, and you're going to quote directly from Joseph Strutt.
Yes, and it just says here, this is in the catalogue that Loudon produced that could be purchased when you came to the Arboretum and visited it. It says, here Mr. Strutt appeals thus to the inhabitants of Derby, not in the language of hope only, but of confidence, for and undoubting confidence that the public of Derby will protect and preserve this gift of their generous benefactor. The property is now theirs, absolutely theirs, and let every man feel and act as if an injury done to this property was an injury and affront to himself. Let each be the protector of that in which all have an interest. And I think that's a glorious sort of statement, to be brandished about all public parks and open spaces and all public facilities, that they are the people's, and we should all take great joy but also take great respect and protect them.
Yes, I think that's absolutely true, and I think that the local people are very appreciative of this space. I wonder if I could just say something about how people can join the Friends and become part of the Friends.
Yes, because today we lost about the first 20-25 minutes of the broadcast, and you'd have mentioned a little bit about it then, but I don't think everybody saw that. So I think this is a perfect opportunity to either be really welcome to mention that now and how you got involved as Friends.
Yeah, so I've only been living in Derby for 5 years, but the Derby Arboretum was the first thing I discovered, and Jenny, who will be speaking later, was the first person I met on the park, and it's all gone from there. And I'm now the Friends of the chair, the chair of the Friends. I'm just going to share screen just so that people can see. This is our logo and the title of our organisation, Friends of Derby Arboretum, and that is our Gmail, that's our email address. Now, we are a registered charity. Anybody who would like to get onto our mailing list, which is really the way of joining Friends, you just need to send an email to this address saying that you'd like to join the Friends, and you will then get information about our events and our meetings and so on. We don't inundate people with lots of emails. We send out maybe half a dozen a year, no more, which are really information about the events that we're going to be running. this has got the same information. And I mean, the park, it is absolutely gorgeous. These are 4 shots of it at different times of the year. So spring and autumn, summer and winter. It's always a delight. So I hope that you will join us.
Well, talking about beautiful pictures of the park, you showed us, Jo, some amazing pictures yesterday, historical pictures of the park as well. And yeah. I'm really, you've got some more for us today as well. So I'm really curious to know, did anyone get the right answer on those pictures yesterday?
They did, actually, yes. Would you like me to, I'll share them so that people can see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so you should share this again, because I mean they're a delight to look at as well, because it is stunning looking at these old pictures of the park and how it was, how people were really, so following your point, Mick, how people always really invested in it in different ways. Yes, so it is a snapshot through time, and I just wonder as well, when people are taking older photographs, the cameras sometimes took a bit longer to set up, and we've got this chap next to the fountain who's walking past. I just wonder, could they have waited a few more seconds before he'd walked on? Well, but it's good that he didn't, because it helps take the photograph a bit better, doesn't it?
By that time, cameras and photography, you know, were working really well. So these are the 4 that I posted yesterday. Okay. There was a group in the playground, a group round the fountain, the guy walking past the fountain at a stage when it was mostly needing to be renovated, and a group, again, another group round the fountain, and some children looking at bulbs. So here are the answers. There were a few people who got it right, but it was very patchy, and some people were wildly out. These are the answers. So the group round the fountain, right? Okay, with the little boy in the sort of knickerbocker outfit, that was 1910. The group watching, the children looking at the bulbs, that was 1936. And it's funny because quite a lot of us looked at that and thought it was within our lifetime. Because I was dressed like that in the 50s. But actually, you know, at that time, you know, fashions, they had more longevity than they do now. The guy walking around the fountain, he was 1989. And
well, it's funny, Jo, say that, because we're talking about the clothes and so on, but when you think about these things in hindsight and retrospect or whatever, the haircut says 89, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And then the group on the park, the family group or whatever, that was 1945. So I can talk to you a little bit through the next ones if you just like to give me a few minutes.
Well, yes, certainly,
or
and we will.
I think.
No, we will. What I want to do though is we have Jenny Anthony waiting, so I'm going to let her in. But then yes, we'll carry on and chat about, and then she can join in and maybe guess along with myself and Mick of these other photos that you're going to show us. So I'm going to let Jenny in now.
Right,
and
so I'll just carry on chatting. Okay, so the next one.
Oh yes, it's all on the same slide. Perfect.
Yeah.
So I'll just say hello to Jenny now that she's in the room. Hi, Jenny.
Hello. Good morning, everybody. It's nice to see you all again.
Yes. So Jenny was with us yesterday as well. So she's going to chat to us in a very short while about her balloon making workshop, which is premiering after this live show. So for Jenny's benefit, so we've just been given all of the answers for yesterday's photos. Did you were you on social media? Did you guess any of them correctly, Jenny?
No, I was busy just sending loads of emails and messages out all evening. Sorry, I will do the next one.
Yeah, well, that's so Jo. So Jo's going to show us those ones now, the new ones just now.
Okay.
And they will come up on our screen.
They're here now. So we made the theme of balloons this year, and Jenny will talk about that a little bit more. But that's really because one of the celebratory things that happened when the Arboretum was opened was that there was a balloon ascent. And that was repeated several times over the next decades, every 10 years ago or so. But there was a great interest in balloons and balloon ascent at the time. And so I've got a question about that. But anyway, let me carry on to the next slide. So this is the same date. This is a beautiful painting, which is in the museum in Derby. 1850, a painting by Charlotte Wowser. I'm not quite sure how she pronounces her name. But that's of the same scene that you just saw. And I just draw your attention to that because it's really sweet.
And also, back to that picture, if we may, of that beautiful painting, that is where that building on the left is where you and Mick are in right now, broadcasting from.
That's right. Yes, yes. And so it's in the painting behind me as well. So I've got a painted panel behind me, which has got the corner of the orangery on it. Okay, so the next one, I just wanted to say that, there were festivals going on all the way through the 1800s, and some of them were really elaborate with balloons. So here's one from the programme of advertising the festival in 1866 with an agricultural show. So all sorts of things were going on, and Derby was still, the centre of farming as well as becoming very industrial and the centre of the railways and so on. At that point.
Well, I noticed that the Midland Railway Band even played. So, Jenny, you weren't able to get the Midland Railway Band to perform for us this year.
No, not this year. Next year, maybe.
Not this year. Now, this is the first of my challenges then. And the answer may surprise you. So, what was the year of the first balloon flight over Derby? Okay.
Gosh, that's a difficult one.
First
Any
question.
idea, Nick or Jenny?
You won't guess it. You really won't, unless you go online and search.
I think it's going to be wild.
Yeah. So the next one is, I wanted to say, let's just go back to that for a minute, because I wanted to say lots of celebrations happened on the Arboretum, lots of civic celebrations, not just community things. So this next one is a civic celebration. And I wonder, looking at the dresses and so on and so forth, I wonder if you can guess what national occasion this was.
Are we allowed to say anything now? Or we've got to keep them?
No, you keep your thoughts to yourself.
No.
Well, I just wanted to add, if I may,
you might know.
I just want to say how fabulous they all look.
They are.
All got their
yeah. But just, I'm glad I don't have to wear corsets. I really am.
Well, I suppose that's the downside, but they do look fabulous. I mean, I would
so
love to
elegant. Yes.
walk around the park.
Yes,
like that.
Absolutely.
Can I also just point out in that photograph something that one of the emblems of Derby is the sitting deer, isn't it? And there's a flag in the middle of that picture with the sitting deer. Yes. And I've always thought you find it in many different places in Derby, and I've always thought it a really evocative and beautiful emblem. So it's clearly an important occasion, but what is it?
Yeah. I must find out why we have that emblem, because I'm afraid I don't know. Thank you for pointing that out, Natalie. And next one. Okay, this is another of the entrance lodges to the Arboretum, and it has a banner over it which says "Long life to our King." Which king? And which year? Okay, that's number 3.
Coronation.
Yeah, so all these are going onto the Facebook page when I've finished this live hour. And those are the 3, okay? So only 3 today.
And the one at the bottom is probably, I mean, I suppose with the balloon one, we could Google that. The other two pictures probably require a little bit of detective work, don't they?
Yeah. The balloon picture, that's from an article, and I will give the acknowledgement of that article when I post it on Facebook. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
the others are all from the box that's in Grove Lodge. So Jenny and Mick kindly gave me, or facilitated my access to, this huge box of photographs, which I've been busy scanning, and then also asking, you know, the various archives around for more of these photos, so that I could get together quite a bunch. The problem is that a lot of them we don't know the date of, so I can't put those up as a quiz. I've had to select the ones that we do actually know the dates of. Okay.
But that's fabulous.
You'll see them on Facebook. Yeah,
they'll be on Facebook. So that's the fabulous thing about, or one of the advantages. There's plenty of disadvantages, of course, but the advantages of the kind of world we live in at the moment, we're forced to actually sort of look at this, take this kind of digital approach to everything. So we are actually sort of rummaging through these boxes, putting them online, discovering what we have, and so on. And we're finding at the Arboretum this whole wealth of historical information that we have, and we're discovering. So it's a real kind of renaissance of our understanding of the park, and it really has been fantastic. And Jenny, so welcome back from yesterday, and I see you've got the DerbyArbo 2020 hashtag in the background. Fantastic.
Yeah. I thought I'd better put it up so that, yes, just so that it's displayed. Yeah.
And I think Jo's done that very clever, very technical there. Jo's managed to put it in her name on the Zoom tag as well. So yeah, she'll have to teach everyone else how to do that, and we'll all do that maybe in the next shows as well. So yeah, that's fantastic. And so you're going to chat to us shortly about the film that you're premiering today as well, and I think everyone's looking forward to this workshop very much. How to make your very own decorative balloon, which have been hung up all over the park. I've been seeing the pictures on social media. Jo and Mick, have you had to walk past those today?
Yes, they're beautiful, the way they're hanging in the trees. And I saw a mum yesterday with her toddler, and she was lifting him up so that he could get closer to them. They really do look lovely. And they're quite magical up there as well, and they're displayed in all the various windows as well. And so this workshop will give you the opportunity to create your own and hang it up and create a picture and send it in. But Jenny, you normally do workshops, don't you, as part of your work as creative director of Spiral Arts, and you do several workshops as well as the many other projects that you do for different sort of making type creativity projects and so on. You can tell I'm not a creative person, but I'm willing to give it all a go. And what type of creative workshops would you normally run each year?
Okay, so we've been, I was saying yesterday that we've been running for 15 years now, which is great, really. The years just fly by, really, when you're having so much fun as Spiral Arts. But we've been in the park about 6 years as some of the resident artists in there. And so we do all sorts of workshops. I was saying yesterday, we work with lots of different groups, with schools, with youth groups, with adult groups, in hospitals, in day centres, and at different events. So the park is a brilliant place for us because we've been able to help with so many different events that we've had over the years. And we had quite a lot planned in the last year. We were trying to run an event every month. That was from Christmas, I think. We ran one at Christmas, one in January, one in February, and then we were going to try and have one in March, and I'm afraid that got cancelled. But anyway, so yeah, the workshops we do are arts and crafts, but our favourites are textiles. So we love textiles because we're both textile trained. Paper mache, as you'll see, there's a whole load of paper mache things in the park stored in every little corner that you can find. And we did those giant orange numbers that you'll see roving around the park that Alan so kindly put up all the photos of. And the other favourite is well dressings. So we've been doing well dressings for a long time. So and we've currently got we normally have loads of well dressings at this time of year, and we've not been able to do any. But we've got one that we're doing. I was just going to quickly mention it, but we've got one that we're doing for the Derby Fest. But Maureen and myself will be doing it ourselves because we can't ask everyone to come and help. But we are asking people to come and to send us some designs, draw around their hand, decorate their hand, and we'll use that as part of the designers to celebrate community. And so that's something we're doing at the end of September.
Well, it sounds intriguing, and I have to say, when you were telling me about well dressings, I have to admit, Mick and Jo, I sent Jenny an email back, and I said, "What's the well dressing?" I didn't know what a well dressing was, and apparently it's a very Derby thing, isn't it?
It is.
For those who, because there'll be people from outside Derby and hopefully from around the world that are tuning into this, could you tell them what a well dressing is and remind me as well? So I mean, I'm new to this in the last couple of weeks.
It's unique to Derbyshire, and I'm not from Derbyshire, as you might be able to tell, but I married a Derby man, so that's why I'm here. But I've been doing well dressing since I arrived, I think, and it's one of those things that happens during the summertime, really, because it's a picture made of leaves and petals, and it's displayed near a water source. So it could be a well, it could be near a stream. And it's a Thanksgiving for fresh water. Mickey, is that right? You're looking at me as if you're saying
that's right. Yeah,
so that's what I'm saying. It's a Thanksgiving for fresh water.
Intense concentration. I think that's what's an interest. That's
I was going to say no, you're wrong.
Traditionally they'd be put up at around Ascension Day. So in May, they'd start in May. Yeah, and they're a Thanksgiving for the blessing of fresh, clean water, because Derbyshire's geology means that we have many, many springs. And in fact, we've got some villages which have maybe, 6 or 7 different springs or wells. Yes, amazing.
And so the well dressing, is that a poster that, or what's the form of the creation that people would put by the well?
You won't believe when I tell you what it is. So it's a wooden board usually, and it could have sides. Some don't have sides. They put a layer of soft clay on it. So they do something called puddling the clay before they put the clay on. So they put it in a tin bath or a bucket, add water, get the shoes and socks off, tread on it to get it really. And me and Maureen do this and have it really, really nice and soft. So if you go in the lodge at the minute, there's 4 buckets of clay soaking.
My goodness.
And then we'll scrape it out, lay it on the wooden frame and smooth it down so it's really flat, and then you draw a pattern or design on it, and then you start to fill it in with flowers and petals and leaves and any natural materials, shells, sticks, fleece, eggshells, cones, seeds, and little stones. So yeah, they look great. And also I've done a little video, haven't I, of all the well dressings we've done about the Arboretum, which I hadn't realised we'd done so many, but when I started putting a slideshow together, I realised we had a
when I first saw that slideshow, I thought you'd clearly each one. I mean, until you've described it now, I didn't really quite understand all the work that does go into it and what they were actually created from. But you can tell that a lot of work must go into each of these things, regardless. And there were loads of them. And I thought, you haven't been sitting there up all night creating these just for this session, but they're from all of the years. So you've constantly been creating this traditional artwork throughout the years you've been involved with Spiral Arts and Arboretum.
That's right, yes. I mean, one year I think we did 19 well dressings, I don't know, it just went a bit bonkers, but yeah.
And a lot of clay and a lot of materials and a lot of contributions, and it feels like it might be a really good community activity, because all the bits and pieces and people can contribute. And so what is it that for the Derby Fest, which is another festival later on here in Derby, what is it you want people to contribute to that? So you're going to create a well dressing, and people are going to contribute to that well dressing in this form of a hand.
Yes, so what we do is we normally draw a design on paper first, and we lay the paper on top of the clay and we mark it out with a needle. So, and then you lift the paper off and the design is there. So we're asking people to draw around their hands, to do a pattern on their hands. It can be words, it could be colours, it could be all sorts of designs. It could be colours of their national flag. It could be a symbol of their faith. It could be all sorts. So it's just a whole collection of what community means to them, really. And then if they want to post it on Facebook or any of the social media channels with the hashtag #WellDressHands.
Well-dressed hands.
And hopefully we'll pick them up, and then we'll include it into our design, and then it will be displayed somewhere in Derby City Centre.
Okay, fantastic. So people can contribute along to that, and then you want people to, in fact, actually, because of your, you have created a video of the well dressings, and we hadn't actually scheduled that one in yet. So I think since we've been talking about it today, it's appropriate. I think we will put a bonus premiere up today, which is your well dressings. So people, as well as the two things we've got planned for you today, premieres that are up there already, we'll put the well dressings up there as well. So that'll probably about 12:15. You can watch that, and you want people to contribute with the hashtag DerbyArbo 2020 after they've created a balloon and perhaps taken a photograph and sent that in. Anyone can create these balloons, is that right?
Yes, I mean, I was doing them for quite a few weeks. I think I did about 30 in the end, so they're all around the place in the park. But very simple. You just need a balloon, newspaper, glue, and a brush, and some paint and a little box. So you can see the ones here, they're actually real ones that I've brought from the park, and then you can hang yours up in your own home to celebrate our 180 years of the Arboretum.
And how quick are they to make? Because I know how many have you made? Because it looks like you've made 1,000, because they're up. I'm sure it's not quite 1,000, but there's a few of them. So they must be fairly, once you get the hang of it, they must be fairly straightforward to make.
I was making them in huge batches, I think. That's the problem. So you do need...
I love this idea of a hot air balloon, decorative hot air balloon production line that's happening in Grove Lodge.
Yes, well, you have to sort of wait for the layers of newspaper to dry you need about 3 layers of newspaper. So it might take a couple of days to make. Yeah, I mean, once you've got your balloon made, decorating it won't take very long at all. So you just need to do the newspaper, let it dry, and then you can decorate it. So 2 or 3 days maybe. But yeah,
it's an ideal thing to do with kids, actually, because you don't have to spend long periods of time on it. You can come to it and do a little bit over several days.
Yeah. But watch the video. The video will show it all. So,
and the video. So this was kind of your first foray into making films as well. So how was that experience for a lot of us? It's the first time. But how was the experience for you creating a film for the first time?
Yes, it was very different, really. We're much more, face to face doing our workshops. So we are really missing seeing people. So it's a whole new way of working for us, and I think this is how we're going to be working for a while, really. So we're trying to take it by the horns and run with it, because I think this is how it's going to be. So yes, it was. I did have Rowan filming me, so Rowan's our photography person, yes, and so that was great, and so we did it in lots of different stages and then put the film together. So yeah, we are having to make videos for other projects as well now. So we're running another project with a youth group, and we're having to make online videos and resource sheets, and so it is completely different really from what we're used to. Just got to persuade Maureen to get behind the camera now.
Much more shy. She's not quite so that extrovert.
Yes. But maybe she'll hold the camera instead. I don't know.
Well, the technical help of all of these things is really necessary. I mean, and I think that we've all upskilled so much. You know, it's been incredible, and it's brought the sort of friends group, the ones which are local and active. It's brought us together really closely, although it's mostly on Zoom. But you know, I think it's been great. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, there are obviously advantages and disadvantages to you know, meeting and connecting over a screen. But it is also a new way of connecting as well. So it does give opportunities for communities and friends groups and artistic groups to connect with one another in a way they didn't before. So hopefully there's sort of lasting and new bonds that will exist beyond the COVID situation that we're in at the moment. And do you see, Jenny, this as so you'd say you do miss the face-to-face workshops, but do you see this as an additional medium of providing workshop skills or creative skills via workshops in the future? Do you think you'll always be making films now?
I don't think it'll be our first thing that we'll do, but we certainly can add this to our string of things that we do already. But we really do miss working directly with people, though. So and there's lots of people that are just not connecting on the computer. So we've recently done a project where we gave out creative packs of materials and a book of instructions of different things to make. So that went out to elderly women and people with dementia. It went out to refugee families and to Sure Start families as well. So we're really pleased. I think there were about 45 packs of materials that went out, but we are doing another project as well later on in the year where we're giving out packs probably around October half term. So look out for that. Me and Maureen have got our thinking caps on. Okay,
fantastic. And can anyone join your workshops? How do people apply to be part of your workshops?
We were running 12 workshops in the Arboretum, probably usually during the summer holidays. So whether there'll be any way we can resume those next summer, I'm not sure. But we normally go and work with specific groups. So and sometimes we'll have open workshops, but we'll advertise them on our Facebook page or on our website. So it's just Spiral Arts Derby. So you know, if people just go and look for that, and then they'll be able to see what we're up to. But we pop up in all sorts of places. So lots of we're hopefully being involved in International Women's Day next March. So there'll be lots of workshops running up to the beginning of March, we hope, in some format. So yeah, we'll be posting about that soon.
So hopefully we're all together in person again for that, and sooner the better. Really, I think for everyone. And again, that's why we've put the festival online this year, and it's a good job we did, because it is changing how people have been told that they must social distance and how they can and cannot socialise at the moment. So we're saying, and I think Mick can correct me if I'm wrong, is that what we're saying to people is enjoy the park in line with government guidelines. So we're not asking you to do anything different at all as a result. So that's why we've not put the lark on the park in the park. But We're providing this all week for you, so you can learn about the park, learn about what we do on the park, and get a feel for that sense of community that is generated by all the different groups, of 3 of which are represented here today. So Spiral Arts, Mick, who in the Parks Department, and Jo, Chair of the Friends of Derby Arboretum as well. Just 3 of the communities that work with Derby Arboretum. So just before I just finish with you, Jenny, just before I kind of wrap up, just to remind everybody what you want people to do after they've watched your premiere today.
Well, I want you to go ahead and make a balloon if you can. And then when you've made it, take a photograph of it and put it on your social media, which is either Facebook, Twitter or Instagram, with the hashtag DerbyArbo 2020. And then hopefully we'll show some of your designs on the live shows during the week. So that would be great.
And the hashtag DerbyArbo 2020 is so we can find it. And the hashtag DerbyArbo 2020, Jo's asking us to tag our photos if we're sending any in as well. Is that right?
Yes, please. Send photos, memories, anything you like. You can put them onto your own social media and then use that hashtag DerbyArbo 2020. And hopefully we'll be able to find it. Thank you.
And yes, so we didn't have a chance to. I collected some of the trees that have already been sent in. So there are our little activity, which is send us a tree. Obviously not a whole tree or real tree, a photograph of a tree will do. Put the hashtag on it so we can find it, hashtag DerbyArbo 2020. So hashtag, same hashtag for all of them. We can distinguish between a tree and a balloon, so we know who to divide them up amongst us, and we'll share them on the show. So I was building a little kind of PowerPoint slide for that as well. So what we've got, so I'll just finish off by saying what we've got premiering today and what you can expect tomorrow. So we're uploading now 3 premieres today. So there's 2 already up there. We're going to put the well dressing up as well for 12:15. I better scribble that down so we can remember to do that. So 11:15 is the balloon making workshop, so watch that, and watch Jenny in her premiere performance as well, and then 11:45 we have some entertainment for you, and Jenny has been organising all the entertainment. People that would have normally been performing on the park who've instead sent us some videos, all of which have been created under social distancing rules, apart from a couple of videos which were sent in beforehand, but we've distinguished all of those in the notes to the videos. And today at 11:45 what we're premiering is Ukrainian dance troupe called Hovola, and they're the Derby branch of the Ukrainian Youth Association, and their website is below the video. Now this is a beautiful video, it really is nice, and what's beautiful about it is it's really ingenious what they've done under the social distancing rules. There's a lot of them, and normally this, and it's the first time I've seen this, because I'm learning a lot of about different dances and different musical traditions and so on, is that there is normally a lot of them. They're together, it's very energetic, and they wouldn't have been able to do that under normal rules. So they've done something really, really ingenious, and it's the delight. It's beautiful to watch, and yeah, you can't help but be drawn in by the enthusiasm and their willingness to just keep the show going, despite the fact that they are under these, or have been under these lockdown rules. We're premiering it for the first time on our channel. It has been out on the kind of the Ukrainian network before, but they very, very kindly let us have it to put it on our channel, so it is absolutely worth a watch. So a bit of entertainment for Sunday whilst you're making the balloon that you've watched Jenny teach you how to do. You can watch the Ukrainian dance band Hovola entertain you as well. So what can you expect from us tomorrow? We have Mick joining us again tomorrow, and he's going to talk about tree trail apps around the park. So we've got a lot about the park itself tomorrow, and it's quite a full day. So we have 3 premieres up. We have the seeds of the community garden, so how the community garden that is within the Derby Arboretum was set up. How does your community garden grow? So we'll have a walk around the garden. And then Mick and I have created a film where we're walking around talking about the trees, or Mick is telling me about the trees because he knows about the trees and I don't, but it's a fascinating watch, and he knows loads of stuff. And then we have some entertainment from a Derbyshire klezmer band, Yeovil, which is inspirational, so I'll chat to you about that then. But for now, thank you very, very much for watching. As always, it means a huge amount for all of us. We're absolutely thrilled with the engagement that we've had from everyone, so keep it coming. Send in your creations, hashtag DerbyArbo 2020, and we'll see you hopefully tomorrow at the live show at 10 o'clock. So see you then.